And while we're here, we might have also noticed that After Effects has created a solids folder in our project panel. And if we open that up, we can see our background layer here. So as soon as you create a solid or some other types of layers, After Effects automatically puts it in a little solids folder up here, but we don't really need to know about that. Just know that After Effects is doing this. No one has hacked into your computer and started creating folders. So let's import our Illustrator file, go up to File, Import, File, navigate to where it's saved to. Here it is here, and we want to make sure we import it not as footage, because that will import it without any layers, just as if it was a JPEG. We want to import it as composition retain layer sizes. And create composition we can tick, because we need to create one anyway, so let's just import it like this. And as we do that, we see we have a new composition in our project panel and a folder called Shot02 2 layers. If we open that up, we can see all of our layers that we created in Illustrator. We can preview them up here on the top left, but let's close that and open the Shot02 composition. And we can open it just by double clicking. And if you double click welcome, it opens that composition as well. And down here, we can also see our options for Shot 2 and Shot 1. Now by default, the composition settings are the same as our most recently created composition, which we did for Shot 01, and that is perfect for us here. 5 seconds, 1080p, 24 frames per second. Now you might ask, why are we using 5-second compositions when this shot and our previous shot are only 1 second long? And that is because it's actually easier when you've got more room in the timeline to work beyond the area. It's also often better to create a shot slightly longer than you need it, because you can always trim it down in the edit and you have a little bit extra buffer as well. Exactly like if you were filming a scene with a camera, you always want to get extra footage, because if you need extra in the edit and you don't have it, it can be hard to work around. Okay, so let's start animating this scene, and we're going to start animating these bars here, which we're going to have this blue, pink and yellow color, filling up the bar, repeating and looping. Now let's start with the bottom bar, which I've labeled bar bottom down here. And for this particular animation, it is going to be simpler to actually create it from scratch in After Effects using shape layers. So we can do that by selecting our rectangle tool from the toolbar up here. And if we also click and hold, we can see all of our other shape tools as well here, which come in handy. And we have the pen tool to the right, which we can also use to create different shapes. But for now, we just need a rectangle. Now, before we start creating our shape, let's actually first deselect this layer, which is already selected. We don't need that, and that will just confuse things. So let's click off this layer. And now let's create our shape. But first we want to choose its color. So at the moment its filled as this hideous looking brown color up here. So if we click on that, we can choose another color, and let's eyedrop this dark blue and hit OK. And let's actually zoom a little bit into our composition. I'm going to do with a scroll wheel, so we're a little closer to the shape. And if we want to move around while we're zoomed in, we can hold spacebar on our keyboard and click and drag to just move about. Okay, now we're ready to draw our rectangle. I want to be as close as I can to this shape, so I'm going to start at the top left, click and drag and just try to line it up at the bottom right, and release when we're ready. There. Now that creates a new shape in our timeline, which is called Shape Layer 1, but let's rename that to keep our layer tidy. And we can do that by selecting it and right-clicking it. And we always label our layers because it makes it so much easier to navigate, especially once we start having a lot of layers, and especially when we're working on projects with other people. It may seem like an annoyance in the short term, but it saves you so much time having a clear and organized project. And you'll be everyone's favorite person to work with, I guarantee it. It is a great habit for anyone at any level to